Well, in 2005, we were here, and I met a couple over at the Party Cove, and they said, you know, Buck, when you come next year, you ought to do it in August and do the shootout. So the next year, Saturday morning, the shootout was already going, and I went over there, and I asked the lady at the desk, I said, can anybody do this? And she said, yes. And I said, well, how much are the runs? And back then, they were $25, $35 a run. So I bought 2 of them. And she said, do you have a vest? I said, yes, of course. She said, what about a helmet? I said, no, I don't have a helmet. She said, well, you can leave your driver's license and we'll give you a helmet. So I got the helmet, and I went back over to the condo at Lazy Days where we were staying, and I walk in with a helmet in my hand, and my wife says, oh my God, what have you done? So anyway, I go over there Sunday, and I raced, and I ran 103, and I won my class. And I've been hooked ever since. I've showed up every year from 2006 till now. In 2011, I sold my Kachina, and I went to Nordic, and I bought that 28 SS Cat, and I said, you know, would you build me an SSE? And he says, well, I'm not sure what that is. I said, well, when I race it, you'll figure it out. And 28 SS is Super Sport, and the E stands for Extreme. And the first year I ran it here, we didn't even have the right props. So I called Louis because lightning had struck his garage and burned his Donzi to the ground. So I asked him to throttle for me. And I said, bring all the props you can. So Gary Teague from, not to be confused with Bob, but Gary gave me the best 4-blade lab finish prop you can get. So we put it on, and we only ran 131. So Louis says, you know, let's put that P5 on there. Well, that's only a 15-inch diameter prop, and I'm running a 1350 blower motor. So we put it on there, and I hit the rev limiter. We went through the finish line, and we turned 138. So anyway, the next year, I had some of my 5 blades off of my Kachina, and I had a couple of those tweaked a little bit, and we put it on there, and I ran 146, but the radar got me at 148 miles an hour. I talked to Bob Teague a couple of times, and the first time we talked, he said, you know, you're going to kill yourself running a boat that fast. And then the next conversation after the race, he says, you know, Buck, that boat looked like it was on rails. So, and then John Tomlinson, they did a test run for, back then I think it was Powerboat Magazine, and Bob Teague ran it, and they ran 110 with that Kachina. And when they get back, John got out of the boat and walked over and grabbed my hand and shook it. He says, you know, Buck, this is a keeper. Yeah, and then, of course, Louis, we became good friends. You know, when his boat burned up, he raced my boat for 2 years while he was getting his skater built. And then Ty, you know, he saved my life. You know, gave me another boat to race. And Ty and Don are probably 2 of my very best friends. I told Captain Ron when he told me on the phone, and I said, you know, you won't believe this, but I dreamed about it. So I am really ecstatic about being able to receive this. And I'm honored. Well, it's probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, you know, and unfortunately, you know, I was in my late 60s when I got involved in this shootout and stuff. But, you know, I am honored to receive this trophy. Ivan Buck Stracener, and I'm a 2021 Shootout Hall of Fame.